Taking a look at our top 10 national stories in 2022. Number 10, Elon and the Twitter takeover. Elon Musk offered to purchase Twitter for $41.9 billion in April, but after months of back and forth, would he or wouldn't he? Musk even accused Twitter of lying about its spam account numbers. Eventually, he acquired Twitter for about $44 billion in October, and within days, he fired top executives, laid off half the company's staff, and sent the Bluebirds' verified checkmark into a tailspin and reinstated some suspended accounts. Number 9, America goes on a Mega Millions Powerball trip. The Mega Millions lottery climbs to $1.3 billion in July, but we weren't done yet. In November, the largest Powerball jackpot ever goes up for grabs at $2.4 billion. Someone from Southern California had the winning ticket. Number 8, U.S. gas prices climb to historic heights.
I fill up about maybe $30, $35, and then I try to wait till I make some money, and then I fill up again.
On June 9th, the national average for a gallon of gas hit a record $5 a gallon. Economists said post-pandemic summer demand, global oil prices, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine all contributed to the spike. Either way, President Biden has taken credit for bringing prices down by releasing millions of barrels of oil from the nation's reserves over 6 months. Number 7. Hurricane Ian makes landfall as a Cat 4 storm on September 28th, hitting southwest Florida, specifically Lee County. The death toll climbed to nearly 120, while analysts believe the storm caused up to $67 billion worth of damages, which could make it the costliest storm in Florida history. Number 6, a baby formula crisis hits the United States, affecting millions of American families. A safety recall at a Michigan Abbott plant tanked formula supply. Shelves were empty over spring and summer.
It's literally blood, sweat, and tears trying to find formula.
Some parents thought making homemade formula was the solution, which pediatricians immediately shot down. In the end, online mom groups and emergency shipments of formula from Europe helped get babies fed. Yet again, supply has still not returned 100% back to normal, even months later. Number 5, as COVID fears started to ease, new virus concerns began spreading. Enter monkeypox and RSV. Over the summer, monkeypox cases peaked, affecting thousands of Americans. The federal government declared a public health emergency in early August in order to free up resources for vaccines. Monkeypox mostly affected adults, but it was RSV in the fall that affected small children, sending thousands of them into children's hospitals. Infectious disease experts say low virus exposure coming out of the pandemic created a perfect breeding ground for virus exposure. Number 4. On May 14th, a white gunman in body armor goes to a Buffalo supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood and begins shooting. He killed 10 shoppers and workers, all of them black. The shooter has since pleaded guilty to murder and hate-motivated terrorism charges, guaranteeing he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. He has pled not guilty to separate hate crime charges. Number 3 on our list, Roe v. Wade is overturned. On June 24th in Dobbs v. Jackson, the Supreme Court overturns the 1973 decision that guarantees a constitutional right to abortion in America. But before the decision, a draft opinion was leaked. Some states prepared to protect abortion access, including Connecticut, codifying it into state law.
I can guarantee you it's going to stay the law of the state of Connecticut right here. That's something you can count upon.
Connecticut law protects abortion seekers from out of state and their providers. Number 2, 19 children and 2 adults are killed at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas.
He started saying, you'll die.
In the wake of the tragedy, we've learned over an hour passed from the time officers followed the 18-year-old shooter into the school and when they finally entered the 4th grade classroom, ultimately killing him. Parents outside begged for cops to do something while the children inside called 911. In a State House report, investigators found obvious deficiencies in law enforcement response. And our top story in 2022.
We are on the brink of survival.
Russia invades Ukraine. Though an international headline, it captured America's attention and ultimately support. The U.S., along with European allies, imposed a series of sanctions on Russia and increased military, humanitarian, and economic aid. As we end 2022, U.S. aid to Ukraine totals $68 billion, and the White House has asked Congress for another $37 billion. In Ukraine, the civilian death toll has climbed to at least 6,700, Over 400 of those are children. That's according to the United Nations.